All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Murphy's Law, 1986. This is going to be another Karate Man recommendation. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. Love this flick. He's a cop, she's a thief. Together, they're running for their lives. I like the redhead gal. She's got a little potty mouth. At first, I was growing tired of her stupid insults. But then I sort of got used to it, and she's got the hots for her. Charles Bronson, who's like 50 years older. Anyways, pretty. I don't know about this movie poster. It doesn't look good to me. Like her hair's all messed up, and there's a helicopter shining on them. I have no idea where that scene came from. They just made it up. All right, this is going to be another J. Lee Thompson canon collaboration with Charles Bronson in it. How many of these are there? There's Kinjite Forbidden Subjects, which is number 7 on my list. Maybe Messenger of Death. I think I have 2 more to go through. With this canon and J. Lee Thompson stuff that Karate Man put on my list. Murphy's Law is a 1986 U.S. neo-noir action thriller film. It's quite dark. It's got police corruption, nudity. Not as much as 10 to Midnight, but it's there. And it's got the Charles Bronson one-liners. What more can you ask? A dark neo-noir flick with Charles Bronson one-liners, police corruption, nudity, and this film is pretty wild. It's directed by J. Lee Thompson. We mentioned him. From a screenplay by Gail Morgan Hickman. It was released by Canon Films to the United States on April 18th, 1986, around the time when they started having financial issues. The film stars Charles Bronson and Kathleen Wilhoit in lead roles with the supporting cast. That includes Carrie Snodgrass, Robert F. Lyons, who was also in 10 to Midnight, and Richard Romanus. The film marks the 6th collaboration between Bronson and director J. Lee Thompson following 1976's St. Ives, 1977's The White Buffalo, 1980's Cabo Blanco, 1983's 10 to Midnight, and 1984's The Evil That Men Do. Jack Murphy Bronson, a hardened antisocial alcoholic LAPD detective, frequently escapes the harsh reality that his ex-wife Angel Tompkins has become a stripper and his career is going nowhere by drinking. So he's going through a divorce. I went through the same thing my second time around. I didn't go boozing it up as much after I divorced my first ex-wife, but the second one was tougher because she was restricting the amount of time that I could spend with my son, and it was really depressing. I didn't care about her. I just wanted my son back, and I had to keep fighting her in court to get more days, and it was costing me money. And then ultimately, she was paying my attorney, and it all worked out for the better, I guess. I don't have to deal with her nonsense, and I get to see my son for 4 days a week, which is pretty good. I can't complain. I guess it could have been worse. Anyways, Bronson's world is turned upside down, however, when he is framed by ex-convict Joan Freeman, played by Carrie Snodgrass, for putting her in prison earlier in his career. And we don't find this out until an hour or so into the movie. We have no idea why this woman is going after all of Murphy's close associates. This was distributed by Cannon Films, release date April 18th, 1986. In the United States, running time 100 minutes. Pretty good running time, about the same as 10 to Midnight. Country, United States language, English. Budget of $8 million and a box office of only $9,947,631. That's not going to cut it. That is a financial flop right there. Freeman murders the detective's ex-wife and her boyfriend, and Freeman begins killing off his associates while framing him for the crimes. The same police force he works for places him under arrest, with Arabella McGee, played by Kathleen Wilhoit, a foul-mouthed petty thief he locked away. Murphy escaped. It just so happens that they throw him in the jail, and she's right there, right next to him. Murphy escapes from jail while still handcuffed to McGee, and they pursue the real killer. While in pursuit of Freeman, who has managed to kill all of those on her hit lists except for Murphy, Arabella is kidnapped by Freeman and taken to the building where she was first arrested by Murphy. Murphy calls for reinforcements and is met with skepticism, unaware that the detective he notified Ed Renicky is a mole working for mob boss Vincenzo. So we've got all these little subplots and police corruption going on. It's pretty cool. Vincenzo is seeking vengeance against Murphy for the latter killing his brother earlier in the film. Murphy heads attempt to rescue Arabella, but is ambushed by Freeman. In a plot twist, we don't know that Freeman is a mole until an hour and 30 minutes in. Or no, an hour and 20 minutes, I should say. Meanwhile, Arabella is bound and gagged at the bottom of an elevator shaft. Renicky trains his gun on Murphy. Freeman quickly dispatches Renicky with an arrow. Unaware of what has transpired, Vincenzo and his two bodyguards enter the building to exact their vengeance. Murphy easily dispatches the bodyguards before goading Vincenzo into trying to kill him. Vincenzo attacks Murphy, but Murphy shoots him dead. Freeman sends the elevator down in an attempt to kill Arabella. Murphy saves her in the nick of time, but Freeman shoots an arrow into Arabella's back, goading Murphy into a confrontation. She attacks Murphy with an axe, wounds him, and he knocks her over the railing of the staircase on the top floor. She manages to take hold of the axe wedged into the railing. She tries to get Murphy to help her, but he lets her fall to her death. Lots of great one-liners in the last 20 minutes of this film. The film was photographed by Alex Phillips Jr. Murphy's Law includes music by Mark Donahue and Valentine McCullum. Variety gave a mixed review of Murphy's Law, referring to the film as a very violent urban crime thriller. Is tiresome, but too filled with extreme incident to be boring. The New York Times described the film's plot as flimsy and noted that it seems we're meant to be drawn into this non-existent story. Yet there's nothing, not even obligatory injustice done to Jack Murphy, that gives the movie even the pretense of emotional power or intrigue. Online film database AllMovie gave the film 1.5 stars out of 5, describing it as an often silly but pitifully amusing pot boiler that is one of the better Charles Bronson vehicles from the 1980s era. All right. Zimph is in the chat room. Zimph says, I love how the main chick in the movie never swears but uses inventive and hilarious verbal insults. Hey, barf bag. I wonder what the reason she did that was. I think it was just her quirky personality. And it kind of juxtaposed against Charles Bronson. I think they were starting to like each other, even though she's a car thief. And she's not a potty mouth, like you said. I stand corrected. She's got inventive cursing words that from the 80s that she just came up with her on her own. She invented her own curse words, I guess you could say. She told Charles Bronson that his dingling was 2 inches. That was a pretty good insult. Anyway, I think she was falling in love with him. And there's like a 50 years age difference. I think she's having daddy issues there. She wants her daddy. Anyway, framed for ex-wife's murder by a parolee, he once put behind bars. Los Angeles cop Jack escapes from custody to capture the killer, but he is now handcuffed to a foul-mouthed thief he had only just arrested. As a matter of fact, at the end of the movie, I don't want to spoil it too much, but Charles Bronson threatens to wash out her mouth, which actually happened to me when I was in preschool. I learned all these swear words in preschool, and my mother washed my mouth out with soap. For real. I'm not making it up. All right. More like this. Messenger of Death, The Evil That Men Do, which we mentioned. I'm not sure why that's not on the top of my list. The Evil That Men Do. I don't remember that one. Oh, it's 434 on my list. The Evil That Men Do. Messenger of Death is number 4 on my list. Then we've got 10 to Midnight. We just reviewed that one. Awesome Bronson flick. And Mr. Majestic. I think that's on my list too. Mr. Majestic is 1044 on my list. So Charles Bronson is all over the place on my list of movies to watch and review. Charles Bronson plays Jack Murphy, a veteran police detective who is framed for murder of his ex-wife. Although taken into custody, Murphy escapes from the police station handcuffed to a foul-mouthed car thief. Pursued by police, Murphy must find the real killer before it is too late. That's the storyline for Michael A. Court. mcourt at metsuniEdu.au. I guess that's an Australian email. I have no idea. What is edu.au? Anyways, when there would be delays between takes, Charles Bronson would often get frustrated and he could be heard saying, let's shoot, causing the crew to scramble. One reason for this is that family man Charles Bronson liked to go home after shooting each day and have dinner with his family. Murphy and Arabella leave Murphy's friend's cabin right before he's murdered by Joan Freeman. And the very evening, Arabella sees a newspaper with the heading, Escape Cop Kills Again. The newspaper even writes that Arabella is his accomplice. However, there's no reason for the police to assume that the murderer was Murphy. Joan Freeman shoots the victim with his own rifle, not Murphy's gun. Moreover, it's highly implausible that the police could even know about a murder in a very remote cabin in the woods, make inquiries, and somehow mark Murphy as a suspect and get the story into the evening papers all in the space of a few hours. Here's some quotes from Frank Vincenzo and Jack Murphy. Oh, Murphy, let me ask you, you ever hear of Murphy's Law? If anything can possibly go wrong, it will. A lot of things could happen to someone like you. You can get run over by a truck, the gas heater in your apartment could blow up, or you could lose a wheel going down the freeway at 80 miles an hour. Got to remember that. Murphy, unimpressed by the mobster's threats, bends forward, smiling. The only thing I know is Jack Murphy's Law. It's quite simple. Don't F with Jack Murphy. You remember that. Although in the trailer, he says, don't mess with Jack Murphy. The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, Bob Uecker, Catherine Woolhoit, and Zippy the Chimp is connected to this from 1986. So I guess Kathleen Woolhoit, the so-called potty mouth from this movie, was actually on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Murphy's Law soundtrack was written and produced by Paul McCollum, Kathleen Woolhoit, and John Bisharet. So Kathleen Woolhoit not only was the main actress, but she also was on the soundtrack. Hitchcock the Legend posted a review on IMDb dated August 25th, 2008. Hitchcock the Legend again gives it a lower rating, I should say. It's great and makes her character so more endearing. Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was going to get sick and tired of her personal invectives, but it actually grew on me because Murphy, Charles Bronson, kind of didn't get irritated by it at the end. He just said, I'm going to wash out your mouth with soap. That was cool. Anyways, another one of Bronson's best movies, Karate Man, is in the chat room. Finally, another canon classic gem. Can't go wrong with Bronson in a canon movie. So far, that's true. I'll have to agree with that. I agree with you. Death Wish 4 is the best of the saga of my all-time favorite Death Wish movie. Great one-liners like at the end when Bronson says, ladies first, when the villain falls from her death. Yeah, that was a great one-liner. I enjoyed that. I don't like mayonnaise. If you ever make a sandwich for Bronson, rule number one, Don't ever put mayonnaise. He ain't a fan of mayonnaise. and and the girl says, "What's wrong with you? Everybody likes mayonnaise. I can't stand mayonnaise. I'm with Bronson on that one." Here's Hitchcock Legend, August 25th, 2008. 7 out of 10 on IMDb. Well, you don't mess with them. Is the title of the review. Veteran detective Jack Murphy is a highly wanted man. After being framed for the murder of his ex-wife, he escapes and he sets off in pursuit of the real killer. But Jack not only has the killer to occupy his mind, he's also got the mob hoping to bring him down as well. And a potty mouth girlfriend who's 50 years younger, handcuffed to him after she stole his car. Murphy's Law is a very enjoyable and tidy thriller. It finds Charles Bronson in a role that requires a cool veneer that he delivers as something of a given to this particular viewer, but the unflustered nature of the character actually lifts this film above many of Bronson's others 80s efforts. The plot is simple and some of the dialogue comes heavy with a slice of cheese, but the set pieces stand up. And here we have a female villain worthy of the title. Carrie Snodgrass is the lady in question. And although underused because of Murphy's other plot strands, she puts gusto and menace into the role of the vengeful Joan Freeman. A running plot strand involving Murphy and Kathleen Wilhoit's youthful and foul-mouthed Arabella McGee only hinders the film instead of enhancing it, though the simmering sexual tension between the two does make something for an intriguing arc, and it definitely helps the film's finale deliver the goods with added impact. Perhaps I'm being overbiased toward Bronson, but I honestly believe that this film is seriously undervalued on internet sites. So enjoy the cool leading man and take in a great female villain, even if she is sadly underwritten. 7 out of 10. And we have, instead of underrated, we have undervalued by the Hitchcock legend. By Hitchcock the Legend, sorry. So Hitchcock the Legend likes to say undervalued, and Karate Man likes to say underrated. So there you have it. Karate Man says, I like how Jack Murphy is down on his luck alcoholic divorce cop whose wife is a stripper. Kind of different role for Bronson, but still the badass action character, action hero as always. Yeah, and he likes to mope around his ex-wife's apartment, watching her make out with the strip club owner behind the curtains as he sips on his flask. He's just looking for a reason to take a little sippy poo on his flask. So he drives over to his ex-girlfriend's apartment to watch her take her new boyfriend up. He's trying to rub it in on himself and make the depression 10 times worse. Anyways, I'll have to revisit Deathly 4, 1, 2, and 3 are all great. Death Wish 2 unrated version is super brutal. That's what Xnif says. I think 4 is the best. I haven't seen the first one, though. I've got Death Wish on my list. That one, Karate Man can't resist mentioning Death Wish. 4. I've got Death Wish number 10 on my list. So, Yeah, I'll be looking at that one too. Speaking of my list, I messed up in my last video. I said I was going to review The Punisher next, but The Punisher is not on YouTube, Tubi, or Amazon Prime. So I had to skip over that one. Forget it. I'm not doing The Punisher anytime soon. And then I looked at One Body Too Many, and I started watching it for about 4 minutes, and I said, "Wait a minute! I've already watched and reviewed this. I'm not going to review it again." So I went straight to Murphy's Law, and it did not disappoint. Thank you very much, Karate Man, for that recommendation. Now let's go down the list after Murphy's Law and those other two that I couldn't watch. We've got Superman 3, 1983, number one on the list. Woman on the Run, 1950. And Messenger of Death, 1988. Another Messenger of is another canon. No, can't be canon. Okay, Messenger of Death, 1988. Bronson. Gets a mediocre 5.4, but the director is also J. Lee Thompson. I don't think it's a canon. Let me check. I could be wrong. Let's play the trailer. Come on. Play the trailer. All right. Let's try doing a Google query. Oh, it is canon, J. Lee Thompson. So this was really when Canon started having financial issues. Around 1988, I think. Anyways, I got The Punisher on DVD. It's probably sucks. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about The Punisher. I'm not sure that it's a good movie. And I can't find it anywhere on the streaming services. I think what happened with The Punisher was that I had it on my Netflix DVD a couple years ago before they stopped sending me DVDs, Netflix, and I canceled them in disgust. It just became a straight up streaming service with a terrible catalog of film. So I said, forget this. I'm not paying $20 a month for this crap. And then I just left it on my list thinking that it would be on the other streaming services. Boy, I was wrong. I missed out on The Punisher. Rider in the Rain. It's a French production, late 60s Bronson flick. Okay, I'll put that on my list. I'll see if I can find it on the aforementioned 3 streaming services, YouTube, Tubi, or Amazon Prime. I noticed that there are a lot of early Bronson flicks on Tubi. So that looks promising. I'll see what I can do to put that on the bottom of my list. But as I tell Karate Man, quite frankly, if I put it on the bottom of my list, I probably won't get to it for another 32 years unless I die first. Because right now I'm at My list is up to 3,959. Rider in the Rain. Thanks for the recommendation. Sniff. I guess that's how it's pronounced. Uh, Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you and Karate Band. Laters.